Is blindness a barrier? No.
Is deafness a barrier? No.
Are mobility, learning, cognitive disabilities, speech impairments and others, or even a combination of them, barriers? No way. Lack of accessibility is.
Welcome to Web Accessibility for All.
Follow the blind. This journey starts now.
Hello, my friend. I am Ariel, and this is Web Accessibility for All, the podcast where we break down the good, the bad, and the frustrating in digital accessibility. And today, we're tackling a problem that's easy to overlook, but impossible to ignore once you experienced it. If you've ever built a sleek, component-based app and thought,
This is clean, but why does it still feel hard to use?
then stick around. We are about to uncover what the claustrophobic web experience is. Yes, why progressive disclosure, component isolation, and small breakpoints might be working against your users. And how to design interfaces that feel spacious, intuitive, and accessible for everyone.
Claustrophobic web experiences.
Today, apps are cleaner than ever, but many users are still getting lost, trapped, and overwhelmed because of the way we structure our interfaces. But wait, claustrophobic web design isn't just a visual problem. It creates serious accessibility barriers that affect real people. Just think on the following situations.
A screen reader user trapped in an overlapping modal.
A keyboard-only user can't escape a drop-down.
A dyslexic user overwhelmed by too many alerts.
A user with low vision can't resize a crowded UI.
A person with ADHD struggling with too many interactive elements.
What is claustrophobic UI in the age of components?
Claustrophobic UI isn't just about small spaces, it's about how users experience digital environments. It happens when interfaces don't communicate structure, focus, or priorities effectively.
How engineering workflows contribute to claustrophobic UI.
Developers often build components in isolation, unaware of their impact in real user flows. Designers and engineers don't always align on what should be immediately visible versus on demand. Focus indicators, tab order, and hierarchy are often an afterthought.
The time factor.
Every interaction costs time. If a user can't complete a task quickly, intuitively, and without unnecessary cognitive load, the interface itself becomes a barrier. The problem isn't just about modals or dropdowns, but about any interactive component that forces users into an unnecessarily complex, time-consuming experience. For example, if a calendar component forces users to go step by step through months instead of allowing a direct selection, it can feel tedious and overly constrained. When an interface demands too much effort, too many steps, or lacks clear guidance, it can turn even simple tasks into a claustrophobic struggle.
Responsive design and claustrophobia.
When designing for accessibility, it's important to ensure that users never feel trapped, overwhelmed, or restricted by layout, especially when adapting to different screen sizes. Yes, the way elements resize, reposition, or stack at different breakpoints can significantly affect how comfortable or frustrating an interface feels.
Responsive design isn't just about fitting, it's about breathing.
Too often, we focus on making sure elements fit within different breakpoints without considering how they feel in those spaces. A UI can be technically responsive, but still feel cramped, overwhelming, or disorienting. That's when claustrophobic UIs sneaks in, when we optimize for size but forget usability and accessibility.
Breakpoints aren't just about screens, they're about interaction.
A mobile layout isn't just a smaller version of desktop, it's a different interaction model.
Users navigate differently on a phone versus a tablet versus a desktop. We need to design with behavior in mind, not just screen size. Progressive disclosure should be intentional, not just a way to hide things for the sake of space.
Recommendations for accessible responsive design.
1. Test in between breakpoints.
Instead of only testing standard breakpoints, check fluidly by resizing and observing how elements adapt. Use CSS media queries with min and max ranges to create smoother transitions.
2. Check for readability and touch comfort.
WCAG recommends a minimum touch target of 24 by 24 pixels, but 44 by 44 pixels is preferred for comfortable interactions. Never rely solely on viewport width. Consider font size, line height, and spacing adjustments dynamically.
3. Modals and pop-ups avoid the trap of tiny spaces.
Instead of making models full screen on small screens, consider bottom sheets or expanding panels. Ensure users can always close or escape models without confusion.
4. Rethink layout stacking on narrow screens.
Stacking everything vertically isn't always the best solution. It can create long scrolling experiences that overwhelm users. Use sticky headers or floating action buttons to keep important actions accessible.
5. Progressive disclosure done right.
Don't just hide elements in menus or accordions. Consider what should be visible by default. Use animation carefully to avoid jumping or disorienting effects when elements appear or disappear.
W3C guidelines.
WCAG's reflow criteria highlights that content must remain readable and functional without forcing horizontal scrolling, even when zoomed in up to 400%. If elements become too compressed or overlapping at certain viewports, the interface could feel cluttered and difficult to navigate. Target size matters too. The WCAG recommends interactive elements be at least 24 pixels, ensuring users don't struggle with tightly packed buttons or touch targets. When buttons, form fields, or controls are too close together, especially in confined spaces like modals or menus, the experience becomes frustrating and claustrophobic, particularly for users with motor impairments. For modal dialogues, WCAG's best practices stress the importance of maintaining breathing room. Padding around text and controls should be sufficient. As a final note on responsive design and claustrophobia, instead of asking, "Does this fit?" ask, "Does this feel comfortable to use?" The key is to create interfaces that feel open, intuitive, and easy to navigate, regardless of screen size or input method.
Designing spacious and accessible components.
Pop-up windows and modals should be used sparingly. It's important to avoid making them appear unexpectedly or blocking essential content. Drop-down menus need to be fully functional with a keyboard. Don't bury crucial options deep within multiple submenus. Avoid unnecessary buttons or input fields that clutter the form. Charts and data should have a text-based alternative for screen readers and users who can't see the visual representation. Use clear labels and legends to explain the data. Mobile View should prioritize touch-friendly interactions. Buttons and interactive elements should be large enough to tap comfortably. Avoid cramming too much information onto a single screen.
Testing.
Automated testing can catch missing focus states, but not user frustration. Use qualitative testing with keyboard users, screen reader users, and users with cognitive disabilities. Conduct usability tests in real-world conditions, not just in ideal screen sizes.
Designing for space, not just aesthetics.
Modern component-based apps are at risk of creating new UX barriers if not designed holistically. Claustrophobic design is not just about how things look, it's about how they feel and function. Instead of just fitting elements into a grid, think, what's the first thing a user needs to read? How much effort is required to reach the main action? Can all users navigate without confusion or frustration? So test, iterate, and collaborate to ensure a truly accessible digital experience. Alright, that's a wrap for today. We explored how claustrophobic UIs sneaks into even the sleekest, most modern designs, and how we, as designers and developers, can fix it. Because at the end of the day, accessibility isn't just about code or compliance. It's about making the web the space where everyone can breathe, navigate, and interact freely. Until next time, keep making the web a better place for all. Goodbye.
Thanks for joining us today. Subscribe for a new challenge next week. And don't be shy. Leave us a review or ask your accessibility questions online. See you next week for another episode of Web Accessibility for All.